Hello and welcome to the Learn How to See Better podcast, the only podcast out there known to actually improve your vision the longer you listen. This is your host, Drew Davis, and I'm glad you've joined me here today. I can't wait to share some great information with you about how to improve your health, wealth, and relationships. So let's get right down to it, shall we? Hey, what's up? It's Drew, and welcome back to the Learn How to See Better podcast. And today I want to do something a little different for you, and I just want to dive right in to a follow-up from yesterday's episode where I was sharing about a little drama in my life, losing a phone. As we all know, that can be a real incident to rub you the wrong way. And I was talking about discipline and our disappointment. And just earlier today, I had a thought that I just had to grab a device, alternative device, and get to recording a couple of additional thoughts, because I had kind of an aha moment when I was going through all of that. And I thought it was important to share here because I think some of us could benefit from the same awareness that can happen in the midst of when you're going through something, just to make sure you're kind of keeping yourself in check and making sure everything's in the proper perspective. So I'm going to drop that little clip in right here below, and hoping that you guys are going to enjoy that. So check it out. So I'm taking a quick moment to capture a thought while it is very fresh in the mind. And it's crazy to think how even when you are going through a scenario, you could actually be learning from it before the lesson's fully delivered. And that might sound kind of crazy, but I was thinking about yesterday when I lost my phone, and the initial reaction was just like, oh, my phone, where's it at? And, your mind's racing a little bit. And as I was going through the steps, trying to retrace my steps and play detective and all that activity that went with it, I remember the moment where, I was going back through this giant playpen. As you can imagine how silly this looks. Grown man running around, with more energy than these kids trying to find a phone that just fell out of his pocket. But there was a point where I remember in the back of my mind when I was running around, seeming probably looking like a madman, where I actually kind of caught myself and I said, think, how much energy are you putting into this event right now in this unfortunate circumstance? And moreover, what kind of level of focus do you have on this? Are you worried about this object, this device, this thing more than you are, where your kids are right now? Something as simple as that was like, whoa, hold on, wait a minute, stop, pause, don't get caught in the moment, bring it down to normal, because some kid that was trying to help me find the phone asked me at one point, they're like, well, which would you have rather lost, your phone or your wallet? I'm like, I appreciate the thoughtfulness in considering the odds. Answer is that I probably lost my wallet, right? These days it's easier to cancel a credit card and replace an ID than it is to think about all the stuff and the apps and the data we put on the devices, with it all being protected by our little password. But I was, fortunate to be able to take from the moment where I said, wait a minute, kind of stop in your tracks. You're running around like crazy, but, where's your kids right now? And everything was fine and I had covered. So it's, don't get the wrong idea, but just the idea of, I had to ask myself the question, how, tunnel vision are you on wondering where your device is, where your phone is? And, if this scenario was the same and I was looking for my kid, I could only imagine, because we're at this giant, indoor playhouse, rock climbing, giant maze type of thing. And I could imagine that parents have to go through that little bit of a spook, and all these tunnels and levels and trap doors that, kids can get misplaced or turned around. And then there's that panic moment for both sides. And that's, a true moment of terror and sense of loss, and not some silly cell phone. So, I'm thankful that hit me today, just to give me kind of the presence of mind, as I continue to learn how to see better, to just take those moments and keep things in their proper perspective. Things come, things go, they're all replaceable, right? And yeah, people can place the argument for certain memories that you capture. And it's like, well, hey, in this day and age, it all lives in the cloud anyway. So if you got your backup on, you're good to go and don't have to worry about all that. But yeah, the reality of the matter is just simply that I think as we go on in the world and we get so connected, we live so connected to technology and devices in general that, yeah, for some people, probably losing their cell phone's more stressful than losing their dog, right? Or their kid, different strokes for different folks, right? So it was good for me to be able to kind of self-correct, and it's funny covering the last few episodes the different ideas for the main components of how you learn how to see better, and I don't think one I had in there was this where you kind of like where you're kind of self-correcting on the fly, kind of like an autopilot, so to speak, but in a corrective sense where you're taking your compound knowledge and know-how and the things where it's better, right? Where they come to serve you in the clutch because certain things once actually learned, are more ingrained and instinctual, and that's a much better means by which you can kind of show what you know. So just a quick one that I wanted to share real quick, and I think it was good. And if anybody out there listening can take from that, the next time something rubs you the wrong way or you encounter an unfortunate circumstance, whether it's something happens or someone wrongs you or you feel slighted or disrespected in some way, something that gets you turned up a little bit, think about how you're actually reacting in the heat of the moment. Be able to, step aside and observe yourself in the present, right? As you operate based on that emotion. Does that really line up with what you're okay with? Are you the type of person that gets so heated that when you blow your stack, you just go crazy, on everyone and, burn bridges and break glass like a bull in a china shop? Because I think that's one of the ways we can learn how to see better. It's just by being able to watch ourselves in the present and take note of your behavior, and that's where it goes back into the reflection to quickly be able to run the tapes on the sequence of events that just took place and say, all right, that wasn't okay. Maybe it's something you said to someone or a way you behaved in a certain scenario. So that's kind of the key takeaway for today that I think hopefully someone out there will find useful. So until next time, enjoy. Well, all right. That was some great content, wasn't it? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you liked it. This is your host, Drew Davis, and I want to thank you for listening to the Learn How to See Better podcast today. And don't forget to subscribe and tune in for future episodes, and be sure to share with a friend if you are enjoying this content. Thanks, and see you next time.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.